in the Renaissance period and the Enlightenment period were involved heavily in magic. And you can study this in the history of it. They were very interested in alchemy, and all of these sciences came out of these occultic sciences. So there's a relationship between very, very sophisticated sciences and magic. That's the point. Very strange things can come out of this. So there's a lot of magic going on, right? And a lot of people are literally under what I'm trying to say is that, because it's very difficult to understand this properly. What I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of what's happening today is in this realm, and it's very difficult for people to understand this. But when you study it, what you find is that a lot of the people involved in mass control are actually heavily involved in this science, and that's what you find out when you do the research. Many of the people that are involved in film, many of the people involved in music, many of the people that are involved in newscasting, they know how to manipulate the minds of people. And whether it's done with this type of magic or simply with the power of technology and the higher magic, the result is the same. You get people that are as if they're possessed. And this is why it would be indistinguishable. We've got kids that are stabbing children. We've got people that are just shooting people and not knowing why they're doing these things. And this is coming out of a culture that is really, really profoundly disturbed in its essence, because no civilization that was healthy would produce the type of games that they're exposing these young children to. No civilization that was healthy would produce the type of films, where they have films where the main character tortures people and chops off their fingers and their hands, or slowly tortures them to death. Muslims would have never come up with these type of ideas, because their culture is not a demonic, dark culture. It's become demonic and dark because of a lot of madness that's happened in the Muslim world. I mean, there's a lot of demonic, dark things going on, and these people are really. Dostoevsky called his book about the terrorists the possessed, and in one translation it's called the demons. I don't know the Russian word for it, but he certainly understood that there was something demonic involved in this. So that's, this is difficult for people to deal with this stuff, but when you actually find out about the characters that were involved in producing a lot of this technology, and you read the history of it, you find that they were really involved in a lot of these things, which is very strange. And when you see the result that these things have on people and the effect that they have on them. So, I mean, I don't know, Arthur C. Clarke, who said that advanced technology becomes indistinguishable from magic, was involved in magic. He was involved in numerology. It's very strange that they place these satellites at 22,000 feet, because those are their numbers, 11, 22, 33. They like multiples of 11 and things like this. So I don't know. I mean, we're all trying to work this thing out, aren't we? But these things are real, and jadoo, whatever you want to call it, it's real. And that's why and I'll tell you something just personally. For me, I didn't really give a lot of this credence, because I wasn't raised like this. I was raised, my father was a college professor. I certainly wasn't raised with the idea, like magic was something, I thought magic was pulling rabbits out of hats and things like that. When I became Muslim and I heard all these things, and, I didn't really, whatever, it wasn't really something. But in the last few years, it's become much clearer to me how much this is actually a force working in the world. And it makes much more sense to me now why there are so many hadiths and so many protective du'as against this stuff. you know, أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. This is evil. And also, أعوذ بكلمات الله من همزات الشياطين. You know, the influences of the demons. You know, the Prophet ﷺ said, وَأَنْ يَحْضُرُونَ, or that they should become present. You know, so the demonic realm is real. And there are people, unfortunately, that are actively involved in attempting to bring that realm into this realm. And this is where it gets very strange. So, and they're certainly into numerology. It's a big thing with these people. So he's warning us and saying that this is madhmum. So that's a harmful knowledge. The second reason he said is that is harming other people. So the knowledge is used to harm other people, right? And people do this. They just had a woman, got 6 years in England. So she started putting on internet that she had rape fantasies. She wanted somebody to come to her house and pretend to rape her. And she gave her boss's number, who fired her. You know, I mean, there's a lot of sick people out there, right? And they're just, you know, you're working with people like that. We've got pedophiles, we've got rapists, we've got sociopaths, and these people are demonic people. You know, that really they're people that, and Imam Ghazali says that they've actually given the shayateen al-jinn a rest. Like, they're doing so much work now, the shayateen al-ins, that the shayateen al-jinn are just kicking back and watching it all happen. So there's a lot of demonic forces. Now, whatever you want to call this, if you want to call it magic or whatever you want to call it, these are terms for phenomena in the world. That's the point. And obviously it becomes very difficult because magic is totally haram in Islam. But Imam al-Ghazali will argue in the Ihya, in the Bab al-Safar, that delving too deeply into mathematics is prohibited. And I know a lot of people have problems with that, but if you look at a lot of what's happening on this planet that's so destructive, it's because of this knowledge that has come out. I mean, Muslims use mathematics for very positive things, like building buildings and finding the Qibla and determining the prayer times. They would never have used it to build bombs that could annihilate whole populations. So now we have to deal with the fact that, you know, the men that invented the nuclear bomb were all, you know, wizards, really. I mean, they were wizards. And some of them were involved in black magic. This is simply a fact. So he says the second reason is that it harms the person himself. And he says, like astrology, learning astrology. And he said there's an aspect of astrology that, because these people did not distinguish between astrology and astronomy. So ilm al-nujum meant astronomy and astrology, because every astrologer has to be an astronomer. You know, astrology is based on the science of astronomy. You have to know where the planets are. You have to know what constellation the moon is in, the sun is in, and this is all done through astronomy. So he's saying, Allah says, "Ash-shamsu wal-qamaru bi-husban." We put the sun and the moon in reckoned courses.